Okay. Where the next members? I saw council around. Where is council? Okay, now put the ready packers. Talking about fire, what am I talking about fire from
It is okay. Okuva na leero nga we mutera okugamba mu abanamawulire emitwe emikulu gigenda kukyuka. Mujja kugamba Mao alangiridde mu butongole yajja kubwa sipiika. Oluvannyuma lw'okwebuuza ku bantu bangi naddala ababaka abalonde abagenda okutuula mu palamenti e12 ate oluvannyuma lw'okufuna obubaka bungi nnyo obw'obuwagizi n'ebigambo ebigumya, olwaleero njagala kulangirira mu butongole ŋŋenda kuvuganya ku kifo ky'obwa sipiika mu palamenti e12. Abamu baalaba eŋŋombo ya pulezidenti w'eggwanga eya protecting the gains. Naye ku lwange nze ndowooza waliwo ebintu bye tulina mu Uganda naye abasinga tebabirabamu makulu. Tutandike okusiima ebintu bye tulina kubanga bisobola okuvaawo. Mutunuulire Libya balina obutebenkevu naye obutebenkevu baali babutwala ng'ekitaliimu makulu. Tumanye nti gavumenti esobola okukola ebintu bingi naye waliwo gavumenti byetasobola kukola. N'olwekyo Uganda ey'enkya ejja kwesigama ku nkola eya gavumenti okuyamba abanansi okwekolera. Gavumenti erina obuvunaanyizibwa okuyamba Abannayuganda okweyimiriza bokka. Mu 86 gavumenti ya NRM yayingira mu buyinza n'esuubiza Abannayuganda nti egenda kuleetawo ebyobufuzi ebigenda okwawukana na biri bye twali tumanyi. Siyaasa omupya kye baatusuubiza. Kati siyaasa omukadde yali yeesigamye ku ki? Sookera ddala obusosoze, okubba obululu, okutulugunya abannansi naddala mu biseera by'okulonda, ne bannabyabufuzi okubeera bakazanyikirizi. Ekiteeso ky'okuteeta constitution empya yatuzzaamu nnyo essuubi. Biseera ebyo okumalira ddala myaka 20 tetwalina bibiina bya bufuzi era twali mu nkola ya movement nga buli yeesimbawo nga ye temuli mu bibiina. Naye mu DP abavubuka beekolamu omulimo ne batondawo ekisinde n'ekibiina ki UYD, Uganda Young Democrats, nga kyesigamye ku kirowoozo ekigamba nti ffenna tetuyinza kukaanya buli kaseera. N'olwekyo tulina okubeera n'engeri tambuliramu awamu ng'Abannayuganda newankubadde nga tetukaanya ku buli kimu. Uganda yalina ebizibu ku nsonga z'ebyenfuna nga n'omusaala gw'omwezi mulamba tegugula ccupa ya bbiya. DP yakola kinene nnyo ng'ekolagana ne gavumenti ya NRM kuba baminisita bangi baali bava mu DP era baakola kinene nnyo okuddaabiriza ebyenfuna bya Uganda. Abakugu mwalimu Profesa Ponsiano Mulema, Kafumbe Mukasa, Zakari Olum, Yoweri Kyesimira, Robert Kitariko n'abalala. Ensonga zaali nnya. Ensonga esooka security oba obutebenkevu. Ensonga ey'okubiri enkulakulana. Ey'okusatu obumu bwa Uganda. Ensonga ey'okuna demokrasiya. Olwaleero nga mmaze okulangirira nti nzijja kubwa sipiika, njagala Abannayuganda bamanye nti omuntu yenna avaayo okuvuganya ku kifo kino ng'alinga nga nze alina okubeera ne gye nvuddeewe ekiraga nti azirwanyeeko. Nze omuntu eyava mu kyalo eyasomera mu kasomero akaali kakoma mu P6 ne ŋŋenda e Namiryango okubeera head prefect ne nnyingira e Makerere okusoma amateeka. Eyo gye navuganya ne Nobo Mayombo eyali omunnamagye bwe yafiira yali ali ku ranka ya brigadier. Twasobola okuwangula kuba twalina omulamwa. Omulamwa gwali gwa kulwanirira abaana b'abanaku nabo basobole okusomako e Makerere. Kuba gavumenti yali erina ekiteeso nga kyakuggyawo enkola y'okusasulira abaana bonna ku yunivasite. Ne bwe twogerera kati gavumenti eyinako beesasulira. Ekyo kye bayita government sponsorship. Abasinga tebamanyi nti ffe twalwana olutalo olwo. N'olwekyo tetutandise leero. Eyo gye nava ne ŋŋenda eggulu okwesimbawo ku bwa MP. Twayambalagana n'eyali minisita, twasobola okumuwangula olw'amaanyi g'abantu. Namala mu palamenti emyaka 10. Palamenti n'engivaamu nga neeyagalira, teri yampangula. Oluvannyuma ne nvuganya ku bwa chairman LC5. Twayambalagana ne Kano Mulamba, oyo naye twamuwangula. Eyo gye nava ne ŋŋenda mu delegates conference ya DP okuvuganya ku kifo ky'obwa Ssenkagale bwa DP. Bwe twavuganya naye yali w'amaanyi, Haji Nasser Ntege Sebagala. Yalina obuwagizi, yalina ssente, yalina buli kimu. Naye era twasobola okumuwangula. N'olwekyo okusinziira ku rekodi yange, sijja kutya kuvuganya na muntu yenna kuba Dawudi okuwangula Goliath teyeesigama ku maanyi ga kifuba. Buli ogusajja gwali gunene nga gulwanyi, era Dawudi okugenda awaali olutalo yasanga bajenero bonna bali mu kutya. n'ababuuza nti ki ekigenda mu maaso, ne bamugamba nti ssebo jayo gy'obadde genda olabirira endiga za kitaffe, entalo ga zino si zizo, olaba abajenero bali mu kutya, olwo ggwe. Dawudi n'ababuuza nti luno olutalo lulimu omulamwa oba nedda? N'agamba tetujja kulwana lwakuba tulina amaanyi g'ekifuba, tujja kulwana kubanga tulina omulamwa. Era nange nnyingira olutabaalo luno gamanyi nti amaanyi gange si ge gagenda okukulembera, wabula omulamwa. Kati no njagala mbategeeza omulamwa gwendiko. Omulamwa gwa kubalansinga ekyombo kya Uganda, balancing the boat. Ku luno tutunuulira ebintu bibiri. Waliwo okukolerera abanansi bonna, oba bakuwagidde oba tebakuwagidde. Naye waliwo okufuna ebifo okusinziira ku ngeri gye mulonzeemu. Feno mu mambuka ebifo twali tetubyegomba nako, kubanga ffe nga tetulonda President Museveni lwa nsonga zaffe. Yali alemedde ku nsonga nga tayagala kuteesa n'abayekera abali baali mu nsiko. Naye lwe yakkiriza naffe ne tutandika okukyuka mpola mpola. Ffe twali tumanyi NRA, nga NRM tetugimanyi. Naye ndowooza ku luno NRM emaze okusala kaluma, kwe kulaba nga obululu buva mu pasenti 44 paka ku pasenti 82. Mu bifo ebimu nga Agago obululu buli mu pasenti 9. Kino kiraga nti ku mmeeza awagenda okubeera okwogeraganya naffe weetuli. Ate ku luno tewali region etaliiwo. Mu kalulu ka 2021 Buganda yayisa bubi nnyo NRM, naye ku luno basobodde okufuna obululu. Kitegeeza eggwanga lyonna lirina okufuna omugabo gw'ebyobufuzi. Wenjogera kati Pulezidenti ava mu Western Ugwanjuba, Chief Justice ava mu Western, Speaker aliko kati ava mu Eastern Teso, Governor wa Bank of Uganda Teso, Auditor General Teso, Vice President Teso, Deputy CDF Teso, n'abalala bangi. Olaba ebifo ebitaano ebisookera ddala Buganda teriiwo era tebaddeewo. Era ne Northern Uganda teriiwo kati kuba Chief Justice yawumula. Ezo ze nsonga ze tulina okwogerako. N'olwekyo okubalansinga eryato gwe mulamwa, era ogwo gwe mulamwa ogubadde gulinda asobola ogukulembera. Nzuuno nvuddeyo okulembera omulamwa ogwo. Awatali ekyo Uganda ejja kusigalawo ne abantu tebajja kuba bamativu. Nze nga Nobert Mao baŋŋamba nti olina ssente zigenda okufuna obululu. kana akalulu tekajja kwesigama ku seeti, kajja kwesigama ku mulamwa. Era n'abatuvuganya tumaze okubawangula mu mwoyo, tusigaza kubawangula kati mu mubiri. Nga Goliath yasooka kuwangulwa mu mwoyo, oluvannyuma n'awangulwa mu mubiri. Kati tumaze okuwangula Goliath mu mwoyo, kati alinze kugwa kyabugazi mu mubiri. Uganda yaffe eno erina ensonga nnyingi, era mu kaseera kano ke tulina ak'emyaka 5 tulina okulaba nga gavumenti ekyuka awatali kavuyo. Eyo ensonga esooka. Ekyo tetukirabangako. Tulabye buli kimu, tulabye intaneti, tulabye ne zi eclipse, naye tetulabangako gavumenti nga zikyuka awatali kazigizigi. Ekyokubiri, bannayuganda tulina okwogeraganya, tubeere n'ekyoto kyaffe, buli omu atakule awamusiiwa, awatali kuswala. Ekyokusatu, lino eggwanga twetaaga tusonyiwagane era twenenye. Ne constitution etugatta twetaaga tugitunuulire bupya, tutereze omusingi Uganda kweyimiridde. Njagala kusuubiza Abannayuganda nze amateeka nga tegeera, era nkubiriza buli ampagira. Kana akalulu si ka kampeyini, era amateeka agatwala Parliament tegatukkiriza kukola kampeyini. Toyinza kuvaayo n'okola video, nze gundi njagala kulangira mutongole, timpagira ono ku bwa sipiika. Ekyo tekisaanidde. Kiringa nga wabaawo okulonda archbishop, kati ba bishop ne batandika okukola video. Nze bishop gundi, mpagira gundi ku bwa archbishop. Ekyo kiba kivoola ekifo ekyo. Bangi bansabye bakole video, nyini mbu bampaane. Nze ebimpaana bingi naye si video. N'olwekyo bannange nze sijja kukola zi video ezo kubanga tekikirizibwa mu mateeka ga Parliament. Naye waliwo ebintu bibiri bye ngenda okukola. Ekisookera ddala, maze okuwandiikira pulezidenti w'eggwanga nga mujjukiza ku bintu ebiri mu ndagaano yaffe ey'enkolagana wakati wa NRM ne DP. Ekyokubiri, ngenda kuwandiikira wiiki eno buli mubaka agenda okutuula mu Parliament ey'e12 nga mutegeeza omulamwa oguli mu nsonga eno. W'otunuulira endagaano gye tulina, eno endagaano nnamu, era waliwo ebintu bye tusobola okuteesaako buli kaseera. wogenda n'osoma article 7 egamba nti eno endagaano ejja kuba ekyuka okusinziira ku gavumenti bw'etambula. Ate eno endagaano tusobola okuyingiza mu ensonga endala ezitugatta. Ate ensonga ezo kasita tuzikaanyaako, kasita wabaawo okukaanya wakati wa abakulembeze b'ebibiina ebyo ebibiri. Kati mu baluwa gye mpandiikire pulezidenti w'eggwanga ntaddemu ekiteeso ekigamba nti n'ensonga y'okulonda sipiika ebeeremu ku nsonga ze tusobola okukaanyaako, kubanga Uganda yeetaaga sipiika asobola embuyaga gye tugendamu, omuntu gwe tulina okukwasa enkasi alina okuba nga akendeeza ku bizibu bya Uganda so si kwongera ku bizibu bya Uganda. N'olwekyo eyo ebbaluwa yeesigamye ku article 7 ebbaluwa gye ngenda okuwandiikira ababaka yeebategeeza engeri gye bayinza okusalawo obulungi nga mmaliriza eggwanga lyonna liwagidde ekiteeso kyange kino, era abamu bagamba nti singa Abannayuganda bonna balonda sipiika bandinjiiridde obululu. N'olwekyo kiri eri abalina majority mu palamenti okulaga wajje bagwa, oba balina Abannayuganda oba bali bokka. Ekirala, bwe nayingira mu gavumenti ya President Museveni, oluggi olwanyingiza naluleka luggule, oba olaba nti bangi kati batandise okuyingirayo. Juzi twali tuli awo nga zireese ensibambi. Naye ffe tusigadde mu kibiina kyaffe tulina enkolagana. Njagala nakulabula abaakayingira NRM abatandise kati okubuulirira bannannyinimu engeri gye bateekwa okuddukanyamu ekibiina kyabwe. Bamanye nti DP ne NRM tuvudde wala. Era n'abantu abaasinga okufa mu lutalo olwaleeta President Museveni baali ba DP. N'olwekyo enjogera eyo egamba nti okulonda Mao nga sipiika NRM ejja kuba yeetuze, ekyo kitegeeza nti tebamanyi byafaayo bya Uganda era tebamanyi Uganda gyeraga. Kubanga buli omu kati atunuulidde Mao NRM n'emuyisa etya ku nsonga ya sipiika. Buli omu kwagenda okulabira alyoka asalewo oba ba NRM beesigika oba nedda. Bajja gamba nti olaba ono alina endagaano okuliko omukono gwa pulezidenti bamuyisa bwe bati. Kati ate olwo bano ab'ebifaananyi abeekubisiza ebifaananyi obufaananyi banaabayisa batya? Omuganda agamba nti olaba embwa egoba ow'ekiwempe kati gwe ow'eddiba onooyitawo. Okwo okulabula eri eggwanga. Tubalansinga eryato n'akalulu ka sipiika newe nakawedde. Oba balonze batya, naye ensonga y'okubalansinga eryato ejja kusigalawo. Era mu kalulu akaddako eyo y'ensonga egenda okubeera ku mmeeza. Naye siina kubuusabuusa kwonna nti ababaka bajja kulowooza ku nsonga ya Uganda nyaffe. Ate ku lwange nga omuntu neebuuzizza enkya bwe ndituuka mu maaso ga Katonda nambuuza Timao watunuulira palamenti wakolawo ki? Ate ne mukwano gwange eyali sipiika Jacob Oulanyah ajja kumbuuza nti Mao nakulekawo obeeko ky'okola nga siriiwo. Obadde n'obudde baakulonda n'okulonda okugenda mu palamenti e12. Wakolawo ki? Saagala kwewozaako, njagala mbeere nga nsobola okumugamba nti ssebo nakola kyonna ekisoboka okununula palamenti yaffe ebeere palamenti y'abantu, kubanga ogwo gwe gwali omulamwa gwe. Ate ng'ayagala engeri gye tuteesa mu palamenti ebeere engeri y'abantu abakulu. Palamenti eveemu katemba, eveemu obukuusa n'obukumpanya. Palamenti ebeere nga eriwo ku lw'Abannayuganda. Ate n'ekitiibwa kya palamenti kiddewo. Naye bwe njogera kati mmemba w'olukiiko oba olwa Buganda oba olw'Ettoolo ayinza n'okuba ng'asinza ababaka baffe aba palamenti ekitiibwa. Ebyo si byange. Mujjukire omubaka Jonathan Odu bye yayogera. Yagamba nti yali ayitawo awantu ne bamuyita ow'ekitiibwa, ow'ekitiibwa. Oba yali asaaga simanyi, naye yagamba mu palamenti yagenda n'abuuza kuba ye Mulang'a, n'agamba nti ow'ekitiibwa kitegeeza ki? Bukitegeeza mubbi. Ebyo byonna biraga nti tulina okukyusa palamenti engeri gy'ekolamu. Ezo ze nsonga ezindeese. Sina lutalo na muntu yenna. Sipiika aliko, muwe ekitiibwa kye era mukwano gwange, anyambye nnyo ng'omuntu, naye tulina okubalansinga eryato lya Uganda. Ekyokubiri, tulina okulaba nga tuzaawo ekitiibwa kya palamenti. Nze sigenda kukola kampeyini yonna kubanga kino ekifo si kya kukola kampeyini. Nsembyayo kano abagamba nti atali wa NRM tayinza kulondebwa nga sipiika tamanyi mateeka. Nze nga munnamateeka eyasoma amateeka ate nga advocate, okwawukanako ne balooya abatali ba advocate. Manyi nti mu article number 5 tetukola campaign. Ate n'ekirala okusinziira ku ndagaano gye tuyina, NRM erina okumanya nti tutambulira wamu kati. Mu Kenya, Speaker aliko kati Right Honorable Wetangula. Tali mu kibiina kya President Ruto. naye nga ye speaker. Naye lwakuba mu Uganda tulina enkola eno eya ring fencing, buli ali mu kifo alowooza ekifo baakimutondera. Tumanye nti bino ebifo bya bannayuganda. From the waiting is over to Mao declares candidacy for Speaker of Parliament, which is the purpose of this press conference. So I wish to inform you that after consulting many people, particularly the electorate, namely the incoming honorable members of the 12th Parliament, and getting messages of support and words of encouragement, I hereby announce my candidacy for Speaker of the 12th Parliament. Now, this is an announcement. It's not a campaign. I believe in rules. Under the rules of procedure of Parliament, we are not supposed to campaign. There are members of Parliament who are supposed to be sworn in the 12th Parliament who contacted me and wanted to record videos endorsing my candidacy. Yeah. But I told them that that's not allowed by the rules. A Speaker of Parliament is not supposed to be campaigning. Speaker of Parliament is almost like an archbishop. So imagine if the Church of Uganda is electing an archbishop, then you have recordings of bishops endorsing a candidate. That would really demean the position of archbishop. So I call upon all those who are interested in this position to desist from demeaning the stature of that office. The other day, when Pope Francis passed on, there was an election for Pope. Now imagine if cardinals started posting videos saying, I endorse so and so for Pope. I endorse so and so for Pope. That would be the most embarrassing thing. So I'm sorry to all my supporters. You are not allowed to campaign for me. Please don't campaign. The office of Speaker, according to Rule 5, is not one which is elected through campaigns. As a matter of fact, during the election of Speaker, the candidates don't even talk. The candidates are not supposed to talk. Just the proposer of a candidate speaks briefly. Even the rules say briefly about the qualifications of the candidate. Now, the only major qualification for Speaker is that you are a member of Parliament. So all those who have been elected to the 12th Parliament are possible candidates. Just like all the cardinals in a conclave are possible candidates to be Pope. But I would add two things. In terms of qualifications, your proposer has to talk about your record. And your record means your journey. I'm not a new person in the politics of Uganda. Everything about me the good, the bad, and the ugly is out there in the public view. From my time as a head prefect in Namilyango College, having arrived from a village school which stopped in P6, to my time as a student of law in Makerere, where I was elected as president of Makerere Students Guild. You all recall that tough campaign against a formidable opponent, indeed a worthy opponent, the late Brigadier Nobo Mayombo. In that campaign, everybody was sure I was going to get a thorough beating because I had no chance. Why? They were looking at the wrong things. They saw me as an opposition candidate. They didn't see me as a representative of a student cause. At that time, the main cause was whether the government would continue supporting sons and daughters of the poor to access university education. And I was the champion of that cause. So I was elected against all odds. Again, at the age of 28, I went to Gulu to run for parliament. My opponent was a member of the cabinet. As usual, everybody said, this young man is going to be beaten thoroughly. Again, I shocked everybody by winning. After 10 years in parliament, I retired voluntarily. This afternoon, I'm going to publish my farewell speech to parliament. I think I may be one of the few people who has ever given a farewell speech to parliament. So I'm only returning. This is now the return to the 12th parliament. I'll publish my farewell speech where I said a few things about the things I believe about parliament. That speech is 20 years old. I was 38 when I delivered that speech. And I was retiring. I went to Gulu to face another formidable opponent, a colonel in the army, for the position of district chairman. Again, nobody gave me a chance. As usual, they ridiculed me, they mocked me. Again, I surprised everybody by winning. 2010, there was a delegates conference of DP. I announced my candidacy to be president of the Democratic Party against the formidable Alhaji Nasantege Sebagala. He had the name, he had the popularity, he had the money. Again, nobody gave me a chance. But I went to Mbale and I won against all odds. And that has been the case. This time, 20 years after leaving parliament, I went to run for parliament. Big forces were opposing my candidacy, but here I am as the MP-elect for Laropeche. So for those who are not believing that it is possible for Nobert Mao to be Speaker of the 12th Parliament, look at what footballers call the odds. My odds are different from other people's odds. So I urge you not to judge me by your normal standards. I hope my record shows that my odds are good. I want to thank my party, the Democratic Party, for standing with me all through these years, and those of you who have joined this event. Even my wife is somewhere. You may not see her, but she's around. The candidate I supported for president put on his poster a slogan, protecting the gains. Now, that is really a lot of English, but let me just simplify it. I believe that what that slogan meant was that we can't take anything for granted. So today, I urge Ugandans not to take anything for granted. Even the leaders you have, don't take them for granted. Even you young people in DP, today you are saying all sorts of things about us, but tomorrow when you are not there, you realize that you have been taking us for granted. Don't take anything for granted. The purpose of this press conference was simply to let you know that the consultation phase is over. And this morning, I came to announce my candidacy for Speaker of the 12th Parliament. Uganda, our motherland, is at a turning point. We are at a defining moment. And the next 5 years are very critical for Uganda. There is hope, but there is also fear and despair. We have made gains, but we have also made losses. We are winning some wars, but we are losing the war against corruption. The corruption I'm talking about is not a police officer demanding 10,000 shillings. That's not the corruption I'm talking about. I'm talking about grand corruption. And grand corruption can only be carried out by those with power. Ugandans are not yet in a very good position to check abuse of power. That is a war we still have to wage. And the greatest abuse of power is manifested through corruption. Government has possibilities, but government also has limits. The future of this country will therefore depend on what government does, but also on what we do as citizens to improve our lives. Therefore, it's the duty of government to free the energies of citizens. In 1986, the National Resistance Movement promised a new kind of politics. New as opposed to what? As opposed to what they defined as old politics. So what were the characteristics of the old politics? Sectarianism, tribal and religious, rigging elections, political violence, and manipulation. As DP, we have a PhD in being victims of this kind of politics. In 1980, DP candidates who were going for nominations in West Nile, some of them could not cross in time to be nominated because the ferry was forcefully held on the other side of the river. So as a DP candidate, you are on one side of the river waiting for the ferry, and with impunity you are told that the ferry has a mechanical problem. Then it is 5 o'clock and the ferry comes. And then on the other side, the other candidate is declared unopposed. Do we still have those kind of behaviors? In 1980, DP won the elections. I've said here repeatedly that I asked the then candidate of DP, Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere, I asked him, what makes you so sure that DP won? And he told me none other than the secretary of the Electoral Commission, Vincent Sekono, called him to congratulate him. So if the secretary of the Electoral Commission, which has the record of the results, calls you to congratulate you, then who else has the authority to tell you you have not won? So if we are talking about reclaiming victories, it is DP that should be the first to reclaim its victory. Unfortunately, a lot of our members think in a very small manner. I see a lot of our young people running around chasing very small things. They do not know that our party is a great party founded on very, very solid principles. And then we have violence. Do we still have violence in our elections? Yes. Even where I was a candidate, in the subsequent local government election, my driver went with one of my campaign vehicles near a polling station, and goons attacked him, beat him up. They even destroyed my car. Up to now, police has done nothing about it. They are running around. So we still have problems we have to tackle. After all, this country is ours anyway, and unless we want to hand it over. Do we have manipulation? Yes. We have 4 DP candidates who won. Up to now, they have not been declared due to manipulation. I'm told ballot papers were on sale in Kampala, that each book was being sold for an amount of money. I'm told other candidates and political parties, including opposition parties, were printing ballot papers also to do ballot stuffing. Do we still have sectarianism? Yes. And nepotism? Yes. The Equal Opportunities Commission has published a report about imbalances in public positions in Uganda. That is why in 1986, the process of making the national constitution gave hope to Ugandans. And that's why Ugandans accepted to be under a no-party system for 20 years. There was no multipartyism for 20 years. In that situation, a new force germinated in the Democratic Party. It was called the Uganda Young Democrats. And it brought together a variety of young people from all political parties to promote pluralism. Now, pluralism is a fact of life. We are not the same. So democracy is about pluralism and it's about managing our differences. Because we will never be the same. We speak different languages. But now, if you go to China, you can use AI to speak to a Chinese. All those are about managing differences. Otherwise, we would be fighting because some words in Acholi, when you say it in Luganda, I may just slap you. For instance, if I go to a shop and ask for something and the shopkeeper says Terry, that's a big, big insult. And yet to a Muganda, it is simply telling me that what I want is not there. But to me, it is a reason for me to jump over the counter and give you a thorough beating. You can ask your Luo neighbors later what that means. So, we still have to find a way of managing our differences. No one has a right to impose their own view on people, but we must find a formula of being together within these borders called Uganda. And that is what the UID did. The UID brought UPCs, they brought CPs, they brought NRM, they brought independents, everybody. And a national conversation started about Uganda. That's why you find veterans of UID in every political party in Uganda. Once you see somebody who has a higher degree of political consciousness, you know they are from UID. Forget about these clowns that call themselves UID these days. Those ones should just go to the National Theatre instead of wasting people's time that they are UID. They even don't know what UID stands for. Maybe they are on a pay-as-you-go project these days in this political season. So even though the process of making the constitution went on, there were teething economic problems. 1986, 87, 88, your month's salary could not buy a bottle of beer. In case you don't know. Traveling from Kampala to Gulu took 8 hours. Many of you young people do not know those stories because you never experienced them. And that's exactly what I collided with when I went to campaign for Member of Parliament. I had to remove my necktie, I had to remove the suit and put it aside. I had to speak the language of today. When I would be telling people about the IDP camps, they would ask me what IDP camps, because the people who were born when I was leaving Parliament are now the voters. When I tell them I went to Garamba for the peace talks, they wonder whether Garamba is a pub or some pork joint. You tell them about the amnesty law, they ask you what was that about? So the political class in Uganda needs to respond to the real situation in our country. The majority of our citizens are children. They are below the age of 18. For the first time, children are the majority in Uganda. Adults are a minority. We are proud as DP that we played a very important role in implementing and designing the economic recovery program of the NRM in 1986. This is important because there is an undercurrent of a discussion which is likely to derail the conversation that we need. The first finance minister under the NRM government in 1986 was from DP, Professor Ponciano Mulema. He was not appointed because he needed a job. He was appointed because he had the knowledge. After him came Dr. Crispus Kionga. There were other key players from the DP that laid the foundation of the economic recovery of Uganda. These included Professor Yoweri Chesimira, Honorable Robert Kitariko, Honorable Zachary Olum, and many others. You remember the MP for this area, Kafumbe Mukasa. All those were from DP. So the partnership between DP and NRM is not a new thing. And together, we started tackling 4 pivotal issues. 1, security. Remember, Dr. Semogere was Minister for Internal Affairs. 2, the economy. 3, national unity. 4, democracy. I think it is on democracy where disagreements, the sharpest disagreements, emerged. Because the DP did not accept that the movement system was an alternative. The DP agreed that the movement system is a temporary measure to address a particular situation, not an alternative to multi-party democracy. In the same way that a hospital cannot be an alternative to your home. It is a place where you go when you are sick, and when you are better, you should not stay there. You should go back home. In today's Uganda, people disagree, and when you ask them, so what are you disagreeing about? They don't even know what they are disagreeing about. They are just angry. For us in DP, we know where we agree, we know where we disagree. Now, having given you that background, I want to let you know that in Uganda today, there is a cause wandering around looking for a champion. And today, I want to proclaim myself the champion of that cause. So what is the cause? We need to balance the boat in Uganda. That is simply the cause. Politically, economically, in all ways. So my message to all those making noise is simply to say, balance the boat. This is not about Nobert Mao. You can balance it without me, but please balance the boat.
Yeah.
I want to declare today that this is got nothing to do with Nobert Mao, but balance the boat. There is the national cake. Now, the national cake is what the government does for citizens. And it shouldn't be based on politics per se. In other words, even if you don't vote for the government should still run a hospital for you. Even if you don't vote for the government should still run schools for you. Even if you don't vote for the government should still make your roads. That is called the national cake. It should be for everybody, and even the person who is wearing the t-shirt of an opposition party has a right to demand it. Because this is from taxpayers' money. Then we have the political cake, which is demanded by those who have invested politically. Uganda, for better or for worse, has a north-south divide politically. And right now, the boat is tilted. So I just want to assist those who are having high blood pressure that remove Nobert Mao from the debate, but balance the boat. We have three organs of government: the judiciary, the executive, and the parliament. The judiciary and the executive are now in Western Uganda. The legislature has been specifically in Teso after Busoga. It went to the north briefly. Unfortunately, we lost the late Jacob Olanya. So we got an accidental speaker. Yes, because nobody plans for death. It was not supposed to be that way. But now there's an opportunity. I have stepped forward to offer myself. My candidacy is about balancing the boat, nothing less. And that is the only thing that needs to be done. It doesn't have to. That is the cause. The cause is the cause of balancing the boat. You know, if you don't balance the boat, everybody dies anyway. It is not about the person who is driving the boat alone, because we are all in this boat called Uganda. Any country where the boat is not balanced, you end up with a voyage which suffers from a shipwreck. So that is the cause. There are those who ask me, do you have the money? I didn't know that people are supposed to be bought. I was shocked when somebody called me and asked me whether I have the money. Now, let me make it very, very clear, based on the record that I have shared with you. We don't fight because we are strong. We fight because we have a cause. It's as simple as that. When David went to the battlefield and he found generals cowering, he asked them what the problem was. They told him, "Don't you see that Goliath there? A towering man whose roar would shake mountains." The generals, including his brothers, told him, "David, this is no place for a shepherd boy like you. Go back and tend to the sheep." If the generals are quaking, who do you think you are? David asked only one question. Is there a cause? That's the question I'm asking those who are consumed by fear as we enter this contest. Is there a cause? I've already defined to you the cause. Balancing the boat. Isn't that a cause powerful enough to propel us forward? Fortunately, the last time Buganda could be denied the political cake, not anymore. This time Buganda is on the table firmly. Buganda voted for the NRM. In my place, we moved from 44% to average of 82%. In some places, even over 90%. There's a Goliath and there is a David. Will the battle be decided by physical strength, the size of wallets, or will it be decided by the strength of the cause? There are those who want David to become like Goliath. I want to tell you, David is not going to become like Goliath to defeat Goliath. No, David must remain David. Fortunately, we have already won this battle spiritually. So, by the time David stepped into the battlefield, Goliath had already been defeated in the spirit. What was standing was just mere flesh. So this battle, we have already also won it spiritually. We have already won this battle spiritually. We are now only going to finish the job in the flesh. But in the spirit, we have already won. Amen. The victory of the spirit, we have already felt it and we have already claimed it. Only the victory of the flesh is awaiting. Now, this idea of balancing the boat is the very idea of uniting the country, which the president is always talking about. And I want to assure you that when the social or historical moment is right for an idea, it becomes unstoppable. So this cause is now unstoppable. It may suffer some temporary setback, but it is unstoppable. It's time for all Ugandans to work for a peaceful transition. That is the agenda of the 12th Parliament. This country has never seen government changing peacefully. We need a national dialogue, a national conversation to build a new consensus. We need to heal this country through a national reconciliation process. The very idea of Uganda needs to be renegotiated through some vital constitutional reforms. Now, as DP, we are a separate political party. So I wish to announce further that I've done two things. One, I've written a letter to the national chairman of the National Resistance Movement, who is also the president of Uganda. Because we have an agreement with the National Resistance Movement. You know, if I have your check, that means you made a promise to me. A check is called a promissory note. And it has nothing to do with me because I don't sign your check for you. You are the one who signs it. So I've written with some reminders. It's not yet time to disclose the detailed contents of that letter, but I just wish to let you know that I've notified him. Number two, this week I'll also send a letter to each and every member of the 12th Parliament. So that there's no confusion about what this is about. So those are two things that I have done. Now, for purposes of refreshing our memories about our agreement with the National Resistance Movement, because I had some former members of FDC who are now in NRM. Now saying it would be suicidal for Nobert to be Speaker of Parliament. I sit in the cabinet where every document is a secret. I head the Ministry of Justice where there's zero leakage. Have you ever had any document leaking from Ministry of Justice? Even State House leaks, as you know. But Ministry of Justice, leakage, zero. So if it is about trust, I was chairman of Gulu district, the frontline district. The purpose of building the nation is to bring people who have been disagreeing to agree. And when I joined the NRM government, I left the door open behind me. And that's the door that the Nsibambis have used. I didn't lock that door because it is not about me again, and it is not even about DP. It is about Uganda. Imagine if I stood at the door and said, no, it would be suicide to allow you in. If that was the attitude, would they have been allowed in? And how long have they been there now to start lecturing their hosts? You know, one day I gave a lift to a man in my car, and there was music on the radio, and the man was telling me, I don't like that station. First, it is my car, and I'm enjoying the music. You are just a passenger who I was kind enough to give a lift. Now you are lecturing me about what songs should play in my car. Unfortunately, that is how some people behave. Maybe some of you have experienced that. Somebody comes to your house and starts telling you, shouldn't this chair be that way? Why don't you do it in your house? So now, former members of an opposition party, for us, we haven't joined the NRM. But we have a record of serving Uganda together with the NRM. more seriously than any other political party. Not only that, the majority of those who died in the war that brought the NRM to power were DP members because they had a cause. Their election had been stolen. So we will not accept that conversation to be derailed. But we respect the national resistance movement and its processes. But we don't accept that we should be fenced out because we have this agreement. Now, this agreement under Article 1 states principles. Unfortunately, all Ugandans, including you people in the media, even when you write about the cooperation agreement, you say the agreement whose contents remain undisclosed. What has not been disclosed? The agreement is there in the public. If you have failed to interpret it, that's not our problem. There is no DP WhatsApp group that does not have that agreement. So, under principles, the agreement says the parties confirm their commitment to a strong, cohesive, united, and inclusive Uganda. Then it has 6 principles, which I don't want to go into. But let me summarize. The first one, that these values are a prerequisite for social, political, and economic success and stability of Uganda. That we seek to work for a nation that provides freedom and security for all. That we recommit ourselves to the promotion of democratic principles, respect for all human rights, which are in the Constitution of Uganda and all international documents and instruments. One of the principles is our commitment to seeking a national consensus through an inclusive national dialogue process. So when you hear people are now talking about national dialogue, they are simply copying and pasting. Redressing accountability gaps and national priorities. One of the principles is that we are committed to working in the best interest of Uganda and Ugandans, and to maintain public confidence in the integrity of governance processes. The agreement has 4 objectives. The first is to consolidate working relationship between the parties in the areas of political dialogue, justice, rule of law, constitutionalism, based on mutual respect, reciprocity, common interest, and respect for the sovereignty and independence of the parties. The other objective is that this is a comprehensive framework for promoting understanding, dialogue, and cooperation. And we are supposed to strengthen our political relations on issues of common and national interest. But for purposes of what we are talking about today, the most important provision is in Article 7E, and that is the content of the letter I wrote to the President, who is the national chairman of NRM. Article 7E of the agreement says, this agreement will evolve as the term of government progresses, including through opening up potential additional areas of cooperation. So, we now want to cooperate to get Uganda the best possible Speaker of Parliament. The cooperation agreement is a living document. It's not a dead document. And the same article says, any additional areas of cooperation will be agreed to between the party leaders. So the leader of DP and the leader of NRM will agree on whether this is another area of cooperation. So I do not know why those who are not concerned are talking a lot about this matter. For us, we are a serious political party, and we assume that those we deal with are serious. So my letter is proposing that this becomes an area of cooperation. Remember, we cooperated in areas in cabinet. That's why I sit in cabinet. There was supposed to be another position. They never kept their promise. But because we don't like majoring in minors, we kept quiet. Another area of cooperation was IALA. You remember? So why can't the position of Speaker of Parliament be an area of cooperation, according to Article 7E? So you, the great analysts on social media, TikTok, and veranda politicians, let us remember that the objective is to unchain Parliament. The objective is to serve Uganda. But more importantly, for those who have been used to Mao bashing, I've already told you it is not about me. It's about balancing the boat. As I said, later I will be sharing with you my letter, which is basically the contents of my farewell speech to Parliament, which I delivered on the 11th of May, 2006. That was my last day in Parliament when I was in the 7th Parliament. It's a very interesting letter. You will see that many of us were seeing very far, even at that time. Let me conclude as follows. The rules of procedure of Parliament has a code of conduct. And we are not supposed, for instance, to call rallies. We are not supposed to embarrass ourselves by recording people to endorse us. That is really demeaning the office of Speaker. Then those who say that somebody who is not NRM cannot be Speaker, they are mistaken because they do not know that we have a cooperation agreement. In Kenya, the Speaker of Parliament doesn't belong to the same party as the President. And those who are saying it are always meeting that Speaker of Kenya. In fact, I'm so ashamed to have to say this because now it makes it appear as if I'm also campaigning. Yet I'm the one who knows the rules because I'm a lawyer, not only a lawyer, but a senior advocate. Because we have lawyers who are not advocates. They have no audience in court. Because a lawyer simply means you studied law. But it is like, you know, you can be a seminarian who is not ordained. There's a difference. It means you can't give Holy Communion, you cannot baptize people, you cannot bury the dead. So it cannot be me who is a senior advocate of 32 years standing, because I was enrolled in 1994 as an advocate of the courts of judicature. So I understand that we must abide by rules. And the rules say ourselves or our agents should not be campaigning. Now these rules are colliding with this social media driven society of ours. So I'm even failing to stop those who agree with me. Some people are telling me, we wish this position of speaker was voted for nationally, so that the electoral commission bring ballot papers and we vote. But the good thing is that parliament is the house of the people anyway. In our constitutional construction, it is intended that parliament is the people's house. So when you are a candidate for speaker, you can say a few things, which those are things I've said in the letter to the members of parliament. When you read it in the course of this week, then you'll know the issues that are important. But it is not something that is like a manifesto for campaigning. Because if we are not allowed to campaign, then you cannot again issue a manifesto. But you can write to members of parliament. And in the letters to MPs elect, we are simply saying parliament should reduce the country's problems, not add to them. And I am asking the members of parliament whether they think my election as speaker will be an improvement in parliament or not. If it is not an improvement, they should not support me. I also want parliament to improve. So if my election as speaker is not making parliament better, then why should I be elected? I talk about common sense, using common sense. I talk about defending the constitution in parliament. I talk about empowering the institutions of parliament, empowering the individual members of parliament. Finally, at a personal level, what is moving me? Number one is the outpouring of goodwill that I've witnessed. The prospect of Nobert becoming Speaker of Parliament has energized the whole country. And the whole country believes that we are getting a safety net in these 5 years that are critical, of having a hand that can be trusted, with a record of working with all sorts of people. So I am responding to that outpouring of goodwill. But at the very, very personal level, I wonder what my friend Jacob Olanya would tell me if I met him on the other side of life. And he says, Mao, I left you behind. You have seen what is happening. And you did nothing? Then you should have been the one to have died. Even God would ask me that, what did you do? So at a personal level, I'm in this because I don't want to be a spectator. I've jumped into the arena. I don't know what is going to happen. It is a battle. We are facing very strong forces. But I'm doing this for God and my country. I told you this is not my struggle now. Hey, Uganda! Hey, Uganda! Are they ready? Let them be somewhere here. Okay. Where the next members? I saw council around. Where's council? Okay, now put the paka. Yes. Talking the fire. What am I talking about fire from It is okay. Okuva na leero nga we mutera okugamba mu abanamawulire te emitwe emikulu gigenda kukyuka. Mujja kugamba Mao alangiridde mu butongole yajja kubwa sipiika. Oluvannyuma lw'okwebuuza ku bantu bangi naddala ababaka abalonde abagenda okutuula mu palamenti ey'ekkumi n'ebiri ate oluvannyuma lw'okufuna obubaka bungi nnyo obw'obuwagizi n'ebigambo ebigumya, olwaleero njagala kulangirira mu butongole ŋŋenda kuvuganya ku kifo ky'obwa sipiika mu palamenti ey'e12. Abamu baalaba eŋŋombo ya pulezidenti w'eggwanga eya protecting the gains. Naye ku lwange nze ndowooza waliwo ebintu bye tulina mu Uganda naye abasinga tebabirabamu makulu. Tutandike okusiima ebintu bye tulina kubanga bisobola okuvaawo. Mutunuulire Libya, baalina obutebenkevu naye obutebenkevu baali babutwala ng'ekitaliimu makulu. Tumanye nti gavumenti esobola okukola ebintu bingi naye waliwo gavumenti byetasobola kukola. N'olwekyo Uganda ey'enkya ejja kwesigama ku nkola eya gavumenti okuyamba abanansi okwekolera. Gavumenti erina obuvunaanyizibwa okuyamba Abannayuganda okweyimiriza bokka. Mu 86 gavumenti ya NRM yayingira mu buyinza n'esuubiza Abannayuganda nti egenda kuleetawo ebyobufuzi ebigenda okwawukana na biri bye twali tumanyi. Siyaasa omupya kye baatusuubiza. Kati siyaasa omukadde yali yeesigamye ku ki? Sookera ddala obusosoze, okubba obululu, okutulugunya abannansi naddala mu biseera by'okulonda, ne bannabyabufuzi okubeera bakazanyikirizi. Ekiteeso ky'okuteeta constitution empya yatuzzaamu nnyo essuubi. Biseera ebyo kumalira ddala myaka 20 tetwalina bibiina bya bufuzi era twali mu nkola ya movement nga buli yeesimbawo nga ye nga temulimu bibiina. Naye mu DP abavubuka beekolamu omulimo ne batondawo ekisinde n'ekibiina ki UYD, Uganda Young Democrats, nga kyesigamye ku kirowoozo ekigamba nti ffenna tetuyinza kukaanya buli kaseera. N'olwekyo tulina okubeera n'engeri gye tutambuliramu awamu ng'Abannayuganda newankubadde nga tetukaanya ku buli kimu. Uganda yalina ebizibu ku nsonga z'ebyenfuna nga n'omusaala gw'omwezi mulamba tegugula ccupa ya bbiya. DP yakola kinene nnyo ng'ekolagana ne gavumenti ya NRM kuba baminisita bangi baali bava mu DP era baakola kinene nnyo okuddaabiriza ebyenfuna bya Uganda. Abakugu mwalimu Profesa Ponsiano Mulema, Kafumbe Mukasa, Zakari Olum, Yoweri Kyesimira, Robert Kitariko n'abalala. Ensonga zaali nnya. Ensonga esooka security oba obutebenkevu. Ensonga ey'okubiri enkulakulana. Ey'okusatu obumu bwa Uganda. ensonga ey'okuna demokrasiya. Olwaleero nga maze okulangirira nti nzijja kubwa sipiika, njagala Abannayuganda bamanye avaayo okuvuganya ku kifo kino ng'alinga nga nze alina okubeera ne gye nvuddeewe ekiraga nti azirwanyeeko. Nze omuntu eyava mu kyalo eyasomera mu kasomero akaali kakoma mu P6 ne ŋŋenda e Namiryango okubeera head prefect, ne nnyingira e Makerere okusoma amateeka. Eyo gye navuganya ne Nobo Mayombo eyali omunnamagye bwe yafiira yali ali ku ranka ya brigadier. Twasobola okuwangula kuba twalina omulamwa. Omulamwa gwali gwa kulwanirira abaana b'abanaku nabo basobole okusomako e Makerere, kuba gavumenti yali erina ekiteeso nga kyakuggyawo enkola y'okusasulira abaana bonna ku yunivasite. Ne bwe twogerera kati gavumenti eyinako beesasulira, ekyo kye bayita government sponsorship. Abasinga tebamanyi nti ffe twalwana olutalo olwo. N'olwekyo tetutandise leero. Eyo gye nava ne ŋŋenda eggulu okwesimbawo ku bwa MP. Twayambalagana n'eyali minisita, twasobola okumuwangula olw'amaanyi g'abantu. Namala mu palamenti emyaka 10, palamenti n'engivaamu nga neeyagalidde, teri yampangula. Oluvannyuma ne nvuganya ku bwa chairman LC5. Twayambalagana ne Kano Mulamba, oyo naye twamuwangula. Eyo gye nava ne ŋŋenda mu delegates conference ya DP okuvuganya ku kifo ky'obwa Ssenkagale bwa DP. Bwe twavuganya naye yali w'amaanyi, Haji Nassan Ntege Sebagala. Yalina obuwagizi, yalina ssente, yalina buli kimu. Naye era twasobola okumuwangula. N'olwekyo okusinziira ku rekodi yange, sijja kutya kuvuganya na muntu yenna, kuba Dawudi okuwangula Goliath teyeesigama ku maanyi ga kifuba. Buli ogusajja gwali gunene nga gulwanyi, era Dawudi okugenda awaali olutalo yasanga bajenero bonna bali mu kutya. N'ababuuza nti kyekigenda mu maaso, ne bamugamba nti ssebo ddayo gy'obadde, genda olabirira endiga za kitaffe. Entalo ga zino si zizo. Olaba bajenero bali mu kutya, olwo ggwe. Dawudi n'ababuuza nti luno olutalo lulimu omulamwa oba nedda? N'agamba tetujja kulwana lwakuba tulina amaanyi g'ekifuba, tujja kulwana kubanga tulina omulamwa. Era nange nnyingira olutabaalo luno nga mmanyi nti amaanyi gange si ge gagenda okukulembera, wabula omulamwa. Kati no njagala mbategeeza omulamwa gwendiko. Omulamwa gwa kubalansinga ekyombo kya Uganda, balancing the boat. Ku luno tutunuulira ebintu bibiri. Waliwo okukolerera abannansi bonna, oba bakuwagidde oba tebakuwagidde. Naye waliwo okufuna ebifo okusinziira ku ngeri gye mulonzeemu. Feno mu mambuka ebifo twali tetubyegomba nako kubanga ffe nga tetulonda President Museveni lwa nsonga zaffe. Yali alemedde ku nsonga nga tayagala kuteesa n'abayekera abali baali mu nsiko. Naye lwe yakkiriza naffe ne tutandika okukyuka mpola mpola. Ffe twali tumanyi NRA nga NRM tetugimanyi. Naye ndowooza ku luno NRM emaze okusala kaluma kwe kulaba nga obululu buva mu pasenti 44 paka ku pasenti 82. Mu bifo ebimu nga Agago obululu buli mu pasenti 9. Kino kiraga nti ku mmeeza awagenda okubeera okwogeraganya naffe weetuli. Ate ku luno tewali region etaliiwo. Mu kalulu ka 2021 Buganda yayisa bubi nnyo NRM. Naye ku luno basobodde okufuna obululu. Kitegeeza eggwanga lyonna lirina okufuna omugabo gw'ebyobufuzi. Wenjogera kati President ava mu Western Ugwanjuba, Chief Justice ava mu Western, Speaker aliko kati ava mu Eastern Teso, Governor wa Bank of Uganda Teso, Auditor General Teso, Vice President Teso, Deputy CDF Teso, n'abalala bangi. Olaba ebifo ebitaano ebisookera ddala Buganda teriiwo era tebaddeewo. Era ne Northern Uganda teriiwo kati kuba Chief Justice yawumula. Ezo ze nsonga ze tulina okwogerako. N'olwekyo okubalansinga eryato gwe mulamwa. Era ogwo gwe mulamwa ogubadde gulinda asobole ogukulembera. Nzuuno nvuddeyo okulembera omulamwa ogwo. Awatali ekyo Uganda ejja kusigalawo ne abantu tebajja kuba bamativu. Nze nga Nobert Mao baŋŋamba nti olina sente zigenda okufuna obululu. Kano akalulu tekajja kwesigama ku sente, kajja kwesigama ku mulamwa. Era n'abatuvuganya tumaze okubawangula mu mwoyo, tusigazza kubawangula kati mu mubiri. Nga Goliath yasooka kuwangulwa mu mwoyo, oluvannyuma n'awangulwa mu mubiri. Kati tumaze okuwangula Goliath mu mwoyo. Kati alinze kugwa kyabugazi mu mubiri. Uganda yaffe eno erina ensonga nnyingi era mu kaseera kano ke tulina ak'emyaka 5 tulina okulaba nga gavumenti ekyuka awatali kavuyo. Eyo ensonga esooka. Ekyo tetukirabangako. Tulabye buli kimu, tulabye intaneti, tulabye ne zi eclipse. naye tetulabangako gavumenti nga zikyuka watali kazigizigi. Ekyokubiri, bannayuganda tulina okwogeraganya, tubeere n'ekyoto kyaffe, buli omu atakule awamusiiwa awatali kuswala. Ekyokusatu, lino eggwanga twetaaga tusonyiwagane era twenenye. Ne constitution etugatta twetaaga tugitunuulire bupya, tutereze omusingi Uganda kweyimiridde. Njagala kusuubiza Abannayuganda nze amateeka nga tegeera era nkubiriza buli ampagira. Kana akalulu si ka kampeyini era amateeka agatwala Parliament tegatukkiriza kukola kampeyini. Toyinza kuvaayo n'okola video nze gundi njagala kulangira mutongole timpagira ono ku bwa sipiika. Ekyo tekisaanidde. Kiringa nga wabaawo okulonda archbishop kati ba bishop ne batandika okukola video nze bishop gundi mpagira gundi ku bwa archbishop. Ekyo kiba kivoola ekifo ekyo. Bangi bansabye bakole video nyini mbu bampaane. Nze bimpaana bingi naye si video. N'olwekyo bannange nze sijja kukola zi video ezo kubanga tekikirizibwa mu mateeka ga Parliament. Naye waliwo ebintu bibiri bye ngenda okukola. Ekisookera ddala, maze okuwandiikira pulezidenti w'eggwanga nga mujjukiza ku bintu ebiri mu ndagaano yaffe ey'enkolagana wakati wa NRM ne DP. Ekyokubiri, ngenda kuwandiikira wiiki eno buli mubaka agenda okutuula mu Parliament ey'e12 nga mutegeeza omulamwa oguli mu nsonga eno. W'otunuulira endagaano gye tuyina, eno endagaano nnamu era waliwo ebintu bye tusobola okuteesaako buli kaseera. W'ogenda n'osoma article 7 egamba nti eno endagaano ejja kuba ekyuka okusinziira ku gavumenti bw'etambula. Ate eno endagaano tusobola okuyingizamu ensonga endala ezitugatta. Ate ensonga ezo kasita tuzikaanyaako, kasita wabaawo okukaanya wakati wa abakulembeze b'ebibiina ebyo ebibiri. Kati mu baluwa gye mpandiikire pulezidenti w'eggwanga ntaddemu ekiteeso ekigamba nti n'ensonga y'okulonda sipiika ebeeremu ku nsonga ze tusobola okukaanyaako, kubanga Uganda yeetaaga sipiika asobola embuyaga gye tugendamu, omuntu gwe tulina okukwasa enkasi alina okuba nga akendeeza ku bizibu bya Uganda so si kwongera ku bizibu bya Uganda. N'olwekyo ebbaluwa yeesigamye ku article 7 ebbaluwa gye ngenda okuwandiikira ababaka yeebategeeza engeri gye bayinza okusalawo obulungi nga mmaliriza eggwanga lyonna liwagidde ekiteeso kyange kino era abamu bagamba nti singa abannayuganda bonna balonda sipiika bandinjiiridde obululu. N'olwekyo kiri eri abalina majority mu palamenti okulaga wajje bagwa, oba balina abannayuganda oba bali bokka. Ekirala, bwe nayingira mu gavumenti ya President Museveni oluggi olwanyingiza naluleka luggule, oba olaba nti bangi kati batandise okuyingirayo. Juzi twali tuli awo nga zireese ensibambi. Naye ffe tusigadde mu kibiina kyaffe tulina enkolagana. Njagala nakulabula abaakayingira NRM abatandise kati okubuulirira bannannyinimu engeri gye bateekwa okuddukanyamu ekibiina kyabwe. Bamanye nti DP ne NRM tuvudde wala. Era n'abantu abaasinga okufa mu lutalo olwaleeta President Museveni baali ba DP. N'olwekyo enjogera eyo egamba nti okulonda Mao nga sipiika NRM ejja kuba yeetuze, ekyo kitegeeza nti tebamanyi byafaayo bya Uganda era tebamanyi Uganda gyeraga. Kubanga buli omu kati atunuulidde Mao NRM n'emuyisa etya ku nsonga ya sipiika. Buli omu kwagenda okulabira alyoke asalewo oba ba NRM beesigika oba nedda. Bajja gamba nti olaba ono alina endagaano okuliko omukono gwa pulezidenti bamuyisa bwe bati. Kati ate olwo bano ab'ebifaananyi abeekubisiza ebifaananyi obufaananyi banaabayisa batya? Omuganda agamba nti olaba embwa egoba ow'ekiwempe kati gwe ow'eddiba onooyitawo. Okwo okulabula eri eggwanga. Tubalansinga eryato n'akalulu ka sipiika newe nakawedde. Oba balonze batya oba balonze batya, naye ensonga y'okubalansinga eryato ejja kusigalawo. Era mu kalulu akaddako eyo y'ensonga egenda okubeera ku mmeeza. Naye siina kubuusabuusa kwonna ti ababaka bajja kulowooza ku nsonga ya Uganda nyaffe. Ate ku lwange nga omuntu neebuuzizza enkya bwe ndituuka mu maaso ga Katonda n'ambuuza Mao watunuulira palamenti wakolawo ki? Ate ne mukwano gwange eyali sipiika Jacob Oulanyah ajja kumbuuza nti Mao nakulekawo obeeko ky'okola nga siriiwo. Obadde n'obudde baakulonda n'okulonda okugenda mu palamenti e12. Wakolawo ki? Saagala kwewozaako njagala mbeere nga nsobola okumugamba nti sebo nakola kyonna ekisoboka okununula palamenti yaffe ebeere palamenti y'abantu kubanga ogwo gwe gwali omulamwa gwe ate ng'ayagala engeri gye tuteesa mu palamenti ebeere engeri y'abantu abakulu palamenti eveemu katemba eveemu obukuusa n'obukumpanya palamenti ebeere nga eriwo ku lw'abannayuganda ate n'ekitiibwa kya palamenti kiddewo naye bwe njogera kati mmemba w'olukiiko oba olwa Buganda oba olw'Ettoolo ayinza n'okuba nga asinza ababaka baffe aba palamenti ekitiibwa ebyo si byange mujjukire omubaka Jonathan Odu bye yayogera yagamba nti yali ayitawo awantu ne bamuyita ow'ekitiibwa oba yali asaaga simanyi naye yagamba mu palamenti yagenda n'abuuza kuba ye mulanga n'agamba nti ow'ekitiibwa kitegeeza ki bukitegeeza mubbi ebyo byonna biraga nti tulina okukyusa palamenti engeri gy'ekolamu ezo ze nsonga ezindeese sina lutalo na muntu yenna Sipiika aliko muwe ekitiibwa kye era mukwano gwange anyambye nnyo ng'omuntu naye tulina okubalansinga eryato lya Uganda ekyokubiri tulina okulaba nga tuzaawo ekitiibwa kya palamenti nze sigenda kukola kampeyini yonna kubanga kino ekifo si kya kukola kampeyini nsembyayo kano abagamba nti atali wa NRM tayinza kulondebwa nga sipiika tamanyi mateeka nze nga munnamateeka eyasoma amateeka ate nga advocate okwawukanako ne balooya abatali ba advocate manyi nti mu article number 5 tetukola campaign ate n'ekirala okusinziira ku ndagaano gye tuyina NRM erina okumanya nti tutambulira wamu kati mu Kenya Speaker aliko kati Right Honorable Wetangula tali mu kibiina kya President Ruto naye nga ye Speaker naye lwakuba mu Uganda tulina enkola eno eya ring fencing buli ali mu kifo alowooza ekifo baakimutondera tumanye nti bino ebifo bya bannayuganda from the waiting is over to Mao declares candidacy for Speaker of Parliament, which is the purpose of this press conference. So I wish to inform you that after consulting many people, particularly the electorate, namely the incoming honorable members of the 12th Parliament, and getting messages of support and words of encouragement, I hereby announce my candidacy for Speaker of the 12th Parliament. Now, this is an announcement. It's not a campaign. I believe in rules. Under the rules of procedure of Parliament, we are not supposed to campaign. There are members of Parliament who are supposed to be sworn in the 12th Parliament who contacted me and wanted to record videos endorsing my candidacy. Yeah. But I told them that that's not allowed by the rules. A Speaker of Parliament is not supposed to be campaigning. Speaker of Parliament is almost like an archbishop. So imagine if the Church of Uganda is electing an archbishop, then you have recordings of bishops endorsing a candidate. That would really demean the position of archbishop. So I call upon all those who are interested in this position to desist from demeaning the stature of that office. The other day, when Pope Francis passed on, there was an election for Pope. Now imagine if cardinals started posting videos saying, I endorse so and so for Pope. I endorse so and so for Pope. That would be the most embarrassing thing. So I'm sorry to all my supporters. You are not allowed to campaign for me. Please don't campaign. The office of Speaker, according to Rule 5, is not one which is elected through campaigns. As a matter of fact, during the election of Speaker, the candidates don't even talk. The candidates are not supposed to talk. Just the proposer of a candidate speaks briefly. Even the rules say briefly about the qualifications of the candidate. Now, the only major qualification for Speaker is that you are a member of Parliament. So all those who have been elected to the 12th Parliament are possible candidates. Just like all the cardinals in a conclave are possible candidates to be Pope. But I would add two things. In terms of qualifications, your proposer has to talk about your record. And your record means your journey. I'm not a new person in the politics of Uganda. Everything about me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is out there in the public view. From my time as a head prefect in Namilyango College, having arrived from a village school which stopped in P6, to my time as a student of law in Makerere, where I was elected as president of Makerere Students Guild. You all recall that tough campaign against a formidable opponent, indeed a worthy opponent, the late Brigadier Nobo Mayombo. In that campaign, everybody was sure I was going to get a thorough beating because I had no chance. Why? They were looking at the wrong things. They saw me as an opposition candidate. They didn't see me as a representative of a student cause. At that time, the main cause was whether the government would continue supporting sons and daughters of the poor to access university education. And I was the champion of that cause. So I was elected against all odds. Again, at the age of 28, I went to Gulu to run for parliament. My opponent was a member of the cabinet. As usual, everybody said, this young man is going to be beaten thoroughly. Again, I shocked everybody by winning. After 10 years in parliament, I retired voluntarily. This afternoon, I'm going to publish my farewell speech to parliament. I think I may be one of the few people who has ever given a farewell speech to parliament. So I'm only returning. This is now the return to the 12th parliament. I'll publish my farewell speech where I said a few things about the things I believe about parliament. That speech is 20 years old. I was 38 when I delivered that speech. And I was retiring. I went to Gulu to face another formidable opponent, a colonel in the army, for the position of district chairman. Again, nobody gave me a chance. As usual, they ridiculed me, they mocked me. Again, I surprised everybody by winning. 2010, there was a delegates conference of DP. I announced my candidacy to be president of the Democratic Party against the formidable Alhaji Nasantege Sebagala. He had the name, he had the popularity, he had the money. Again, nobody gave me a chance. But I went to Mbale and I won against all odds. And that has been the case. This time, 20 years after leaving parliament, I went to run for parliament. Big forces were opposing my candidacy, but here I am as the MP-elect for Laropeche. So for those who are not believing that it is possible for Nobert Mao to be Speaker of the 12th Parliament, look at what footballers call the odds. My odds are different from other people's odds. So I urge you not to judge me by your normal standards. I hope my record shows that my odds are good. I want to thank my party, the Democratic Party, for standing with me all through these years, and those of you who have joined this event. Even my wife is somewhere. You may not see her, but she's around. The candidate I supported for president put on his poster a slogan, protecting the gains. Now, that is really a lot of English, but let me just simplify it. I believe that what that slogan meant was that we can't take anything for granted. So today I urge Ugandans not to take anything for granted. Even the leaders you have, don't take them for granted. Even you young people in DP, today you are saying all sorts of things about us, but tomorrow when you are not there, you realize that you have been...